The remains of a woman found in Brunswick County in 1979 are still unidentified.
Yeah, for years, detectives thought the woman was only 20 years old, until just recently, technology helped them determine a very different age and draw a sketch of Jane Doe 1979. Her story remains unsolved. Jane Doe 1979.
She was found on December 8th, 1979, in a then pretty rural area.
Woods near what is now the intersection of Hooper Road and Mount Misery Road.
She was found by hunters, actually the sons of hunters. The boy who actually found her was only 13.
Mary Doncourt, a civilian investigative specialist with the Brunswick County-Sheriffs-Office, says the coroner believed the woman was about 20 years old at the time.
He believed she'd probably been dead for several weeks.
Doncourt says they were never able to determine her cause of death, but in 2015, new technology helped detectives draw sketches.
When I saw the neck photo, they emailed it to me. I opened it up and it literally stopped me cold.
After more than 30 years, Jane Doe 1979 now had a face.
I sat for a minute and her eyes were staring out at me. And I looked at her and all I could think of is, "Hello, Jane."
It wasn't long after that, Doncourt says, they discovered something else.
We found out that Jane actually could have been older.
And not just by a few years.
We found these two really amazing forensic anthropologists at NC State. Dr. Ross does osteological studies. What she found is Jane was probably between 42 and 55.
Doncourt says that also led to new sketches.
My first reaction was to start looking for the similarities and to see what we had and what we didn't have.
And then another new sketch, laying the first two on top of each other.
It was just kind of a wow moment, because it was obvious that the artist had seen the same woman just at different stages of her life.
Then Dr. Juarez did an isotopic study on the woman's diet, revealing something even more interesting about the woman who still didn't have an identity.
She told us basically Jane was not from North Carolina, had not lived here long enough to have picked up the isotopes. So we don't know whether she was here a day, a week.
So where could she have been from?
There are several states where these isotopes exist and where she may have lived. And that includes the Midwest. It's Wisconsin, Michigan, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, New York, California.
Doncourt says they really don't know much about her, but they do have this.
On her left wrist was a Snoopy watch, and that is the only thing that was kind of an anomaly to who she was or what was going on.
But after 40 years and putting her pictures and information on national missing persons databases,
to date we've heard nothing. We've had no matches.
And even though they don't know who she is yet,
Jane was a real person. She lived, she breathed, she talked, she walked, she loved, she laughed.
Doncourt says she's not going to stop looking for Jane's real name.
Her end should not be without a name in the ME's office for eternity. She should have a name, she should have a tombstone.
Because Doncourt says Jane Doe 1979 doesn't deserve to spend another 40 years listed as unsolved.
At the very least, she should have her name. You just shouldn't die without your name.
If you have any information, please contact the Brunswick County Sheriff's Office. For more on this story and other unsolved cases in the Cape Fear area, go to wwaytv3.com/unsolved.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it was very interesting, and especially that she didn't live here. The whole isotopes thing, that has something to do with your teeth and the diet, and nothing connects her to North Carolina. So.
Do they have any tips at all? Any clues?
And there were also no missing persons at the time. So,
wow.
yeah.
That is amazing. Good work. Very good work.
All right, well, when we come back, all you need to know as you head out the door.